Greetings, 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 good people. Thanks for clicking on the video and welcome. Before I get into this whole Braxton sister discourse, please like the video, share your thoughts in the comments section. Thank you in advance. All right. So, season 2 of the Braxtons premiered a couple of last week Friday. Today is Monday, October 13th, 2025. So I already have the review up for those of you who have not seen it on this channel. So you can go check out the review. I'll link it to the end of this video, right? But I had to come back because there's a lot of conversations being had about this episode and about everything, all the scandal that is taking place this season on the show, right? So one of the conversations that is happening on social media, specifically Twitter, is Trina a victim? Some people say yes, some people say no. Trina is being towed up on social media for what I believe Gabe did. And I'm going to share my thoughts and opinions on that. So there's a scene in the episode, season 2, episode 1, where Trina and Towanda are sitting down, okay? And they're having a conversation. And Towanda is pretty much providing emotional support to Trina. And she tells Trina that it's okay to acknowledge her feelings, despite being in the public eye. Towanda also told Trina, you're a victim too. So they were mildly discussing Ashley, and just make sure if you saw the episode, then if not, make sure you check out my review. I don't want to just reiterate or repeat some of the same things that I already talked about in the initial review. Here's my take on this. Okay, is Trina a victim? Yes, Trina is a victim, and Trina recently she did a TikTok live. A clip of that is in the review video as well, where she says that um I'm paraphrasing here, but her and Vaughn were sitting on the live, and she said that basically the other person is not here to defend themselves, and then Vaughn can be heard saying, yeah, because he's dead, basically saying that Gabe is not here to defend himself. And I don't know, I didn't watch the entire live, I just watched the clip, but from what I'm gathering on what people are saying on Twitter is that Trina feels that Ashley shouldn't tell her story online because Gabe is not here to defend himself. I didn't see or hear Trina say that. That's what the people on the Twitter is saying. But let me get back to my initial question and the answer. Is Trina a victim? Yes, Trina is a victim. See, this is the problem with bringing things to social media or bringing things before people who are not equipped with the tools to handle traumatic situations. Okay. Um, does Ashley have the right to tell her story however she chooses to tell her story? Yes. Are there consequences of that? Yes. Yes, you can very well go to the internet like Ashley has been doing over the years and tell your story and say whatever it is you choose to say. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't come without consequences. And the consequences being people insinuating, people trying to put two and two together, people not knowing the entirety of the story. Ashley is what, in her 30s now, and it's being alleged that an incident took place where it's being alleged that it's Gabe. I brought up the fact that Trina was married before Gabe, and I don't know the exact timeline of when Trina was married before Gabe, how old Ashley was when she married the man she married before Gabe. We don't know. She did not come out and say, hey, it was Gabe. Okay, Gabe was not Trina's only husband. Yes, I know that Gabe had issues with cheating on Trina. He's done inappropriate things, texting. They went to counseling. I'm aware of all that. I watched Braxton Family Values. I recall, right? But the problem is when Ashley is coming out on social media and she is not saying certain things, partly because I don't think she can. I think she has a gag order, if I'm not mistaken. I think she said that the father put a gag order out on her, so she can't discuss certain things. I don't know if that's one of the things. But again, this is all being guised under, I'm trying to tell my story to help people. This is not helping anyone at all. No one, not the family, not strangers, because the story is not being told in its entirety. And again, she can choose to tell her story however she wants, but there are consequences because of that, right? Going back to Trina being a victim, she very well is a victim. She was a victim of what she had to endure, whether she chose to or not, or whatever, people think, what she endured uh, as it pertains to Gabe. Trina is not the one that caused any sort of trauma or was inappropriate, I should say, with Ashley. Allegedly, Gabe was. So I don't see people going off on Gabe enough for me. Everything is falling on Trina. Yes, Trina did remarry the man. Yes, Trina, it appears she stayed with the man after being well aware. Again, this is assuming if it's Gabe. After being well aware of uh, Gabe allegedly being inappropriate with her niece. Should she have left Gabe? Yeah, she should have. Did she know? Okay. Trina is dealing with her own trauma, not having the tools to navigate and to basically take care of herself. This is why Trina was being arrested. Trina was engaging in felonious activities. Trina was drinking. She's an alcoholic. Everybody called her the party girl. She was an alcoholic. She was unhinged, and that is due to trauma. And again, when this was brought to Trina, what was Trina and all her dysfunction exactly supposed to do? Everybody talks about what they would have done. You don't know what you would or would not have done if you were in that situation and you had dysfunctions at the level that Trina has had or still has. I just don't like that Trina is getting all of this backlash for something that her dead ex-husband did. And I don't care if Gabe is dead. He was a dog when he was alive, and his reputation is not going to change just because he's 6 feet under. Why y'all not calling out his mama for raising somebody who is as degenerate as Gabe was? And I don't subscribe to the whole notion, don't speak ill of the dead. You know why? It's nowhere written in the Bible. It's not a biblical principle. Jesus ain't never say that. That was something that was adopted by somebody over there in England or Poland or wherever. Look it up. Do not speak ill of, don't say nothing ill about the dead. A lot of people adopt that foolishness and they just run with it. And there's a specific demographic of people that say that all the time. Gabe was disgusting. And we don't even know what he has done to anyone else. He could have harmed Trina's sons. That's another family secret that could be swept under the rug. Why isn't anyone calling Gabe's mama no good for raising a man like him? When it comes to certain types of people are always ready to call out somebody's mom. Oh, they parents raised them like that. Trina should not be getting the heat for something that Gabe did. She didn't encourage it. She didn't do it. And it's really unfair. And I understand that people feel like she should have just left Gabe. Yeah, that would have been the easy thing to do. But look at Trina. Trina is extremely wounded and dysfunctional. She was back then and she is now. Drinking and doing God knows what to numb the pain. What tools did she have to try to save anything? She can't even save herself. How are we expecting something from someone who is showing that they are not equipped with the tools to give what you think they should give? Another thing, Ashley got a daddy, don't she? Where Michael Braxton in all of this? Now, mind you, we can only critique what is shown on television. And Michael Braxton has done a fantastic job of keeping himself away from the reality show. But according to Ashley, his daughter, he's no walk in the park either. And it was allegedly the stepmother, Ashley's stepmother, that went through her phone and found inappropriate text messages and communication between Ashley and Gabe, if it's Gabe. Because again, until anybody comes out and says, this is A, this is B, this is C, these are all allegations. Yeah, we can assume, but in a court of law, assumptions mean nothing. So is Trina a victim? Absolutely. And she even said in this scene that she's not trying to overshadow or take away from anyone's experience. And again, we really don't know exactly what happened because no one will talk. They only want to give the public bits and pieces, which they have every right to do. But why come to social media with bits and pieces? What is it that you're expecting? What are you looking for? Another thing that I said in my review, why the hell won't Trina just come out and talk about the situation that happened? Maybe she did and I didn't see it. But to my knowledge, I don't recall Trina coming out and saying, listen, this is my experience. This is what my niece came and told me. This is exactly what Gabe said when he was confronted. Everybody knew what was going on and everybody just continued on with their life as if nothing happened. Why was Gabe on the damn show? Why was Evelyn having any conversation on camera with Gabe as if he's just some upstanding guy that just needs guidance? And she's another one too that grinds my gears. Everybody in this family, they are all victims. They all of them are, whether we want to believe it or accept it or not. Trina is indeed a victim. Something traumatic has happened to her where she felt the need to stay with someone like Gabe, if it was Gabe. She never talks about her son's fathers because it's not the same person. Remember when Gabe was airing that out? For you to get back with someone who betrayed you, there has to be something there. Now, do I think that she's sticking up for Gabe? It comes across that way, and that's not a good look. But remember, she's operating with information. She's operating off of information that we don't know. So I don't know if it's defending her or I mean defending him, or I don't know. And to be honest with you, if the allegations are true, it doesn't matter if Gabe was alive. It doesn't change the fact that he did what he did. He should be getting all the smoke. I don't care where he's buried or whose urn he's in, sitting on somebody's mantle. It doesn't change the fact that he was inappropriate and he's I was about to say something. He's a PDF in my opinion. And let's call a thing a thing. Oftentimes the heat is always shifted from the man onto the woman. And yes, Trina, because of your association with Gabe, you are getting this heat. However, let's not take away from the fact that he was no good and he chose to do what he did. And yet, Trina, you're going to get a little bit of backlash because you remain associated with him. And everybody in the family should get just as much backlash because they sat around and participated when they got remarried. I wouldn't have been nowhere in sight. Everybody talks about, family secrets, especially Tamar. So Tamar, why don't you speak up and tell it? Why you don't tell it? You don't even talk about what happened to you. You refuse to discuss what happened to you. So tell it, Big Mouth. You want to tell everybody else's business. Tell your business. I think everybody is a willing participant in this level of dysfunction, especially because these are grown adults. They're all victims, Trina included. And I do think that she definitely should be shown some grace, but I know how that works. People only extend grace to whoever they like or whoever their fave is. Trina looks so tired. She looks so run down. She looked like she don't know her left from her right. And I think all of these women have learned from the adults in their life how to cope with trauma is to just sweep it under the rug. Don't talk about it. Keep it hush hush. Your father's a pastor in the church. We don't want people in the church to hear about this. I'm a first lady. We can't let these people know what's going on in our household. And these girls suffered. When Tamar was going through whatever it is that she went through, it wasn't the responsibility of her sisters to help her. They were young as well. That's not their responsibility. The adults in the household, in the village, it's their responsibility to get someone like Tamar the appropriate help, point her in the direction, not push her away, shun her. But again, you're dealing with a group of people who were not equipped with any tools whatsoever to deal with and to handle this delicate situation. And it's unfortunate because this is affecting everyone. Do I think that Ashley's situation is being exploited? 1,000%. Again, can she talk about whatever she wants to talk about, however she wants to talk about it? Yeah. Trina can too. Unless legally they can't. But I don't think anyone is going to get the actual A to Z truth. None of us in the public anyway. Not that we're obligated to have that information. But it just creates chaos and it creates confusion. And I think that the blame should be placed exactly where it belongs on Gabe. Point blank, period. Trina didn't make that man do anything. She didn't tell him to do anything. She didn't know what the hell to do. And again, just because you would or wouldn't do something doesn't mean, one, it's the right thing to do. And it's easier for you to say that if you're not in that exact situation dealing with the mindset of someone like Trina. I'm not making excuses for her. Do I think it was a good idea for her to stay with that man? No. But what if he was threatening to cause harm if she left? We don't know. I don't think any of the Braxtons, while this show is airing, I don't think any of them should get on live and try to explain anything because they have a lot of unresolved ish that they need to work out. And that is the problem. This was never worked out the right way behind the scenes. And that's why now everybody having such large platforms, they're using that as a sounding board. And it's making matters worse. Ain't no healing gonna come from this. This ain't gonna help nobody. Maybe it will. Who am I to say? But I doubt it. Because after all these years, a professional should have been the first person that any or all of these ladies should have ran to. A professional, not the internet. Not the internet. So I get into more detail about how I feel in my review as it pertains to Tamar disguising her behavior as helping Ashley tell her story. Ashley went onto social media already and talked about this. Why does she need to come on your podcast? But whatever, I go into detail regarding this. So to answer the question that I pose, is Trina a victim? Yeah, she is. And again, it doesn't mean that the right thing to do was for her to stay with Gabe. It doesn't mean that. She eventually left him, right? Did it change what he did? No. He's still a creep. And I don't care that he's not alive. It doesn't matter. You're a creep. If you wanted people to say nice and kind things about you, and if you wanted to have a nice image, you should have behaved like an upright, moral, upstanding person, not a creep. You're a creep. You're a creep when you are on this side of the dirt, and you're a creep and you on the other side of the dirt. It is what it is. Stop with all of this. Don't be ill of the dead. Knock it off. Where does that come from? Is it speaking ill or is it telling the truth about the person who is no longer here on earth? I say the latter. Why is he absolved of criticism? No, he's not. So that's all I have to say about that. Ladies and gentlemen, what I would like you to do is drop down in the comments and share your thoughts. Did you get an opportunity to watch the season 2 premiere in its entirety of the Braxtons? What do you think about this whole situation? If this is going to be the entire storyline for this season, This is gonna be a mess. This is so counterproductive. I don't know. Is anybody really truly interested in working through this? This is bad. This is really, really bad. But they agreed to have their life on display, so we can only critique what they show us. I'm pretty sure that there's lots more, tons more that we don't know. At least Trina has somebody that she can speak to, Towanda. I know a lot of people don't like Towanda for whatever reason. Whatever, it's fine. And although she has Towanda to speak to, she needs intense therapy, Trina. She does. And on top of that, they're still grieving the loss of their sister. It's too much. On a professional level, there isn't anything that either of them are going to be able to do for the other because, again, they're not equipped with the tools. They're just not. That's not shade. That's not a diss. They're just not. Just because someone is familiar with you or you're close, you're related to them, doesn't mean that they can help you in the way that you truly need help. That's not always the case. That's why they are professionals to deal with this type of situation and to give you the tools to navigate throughout life, having survived all of this trauma that you've experienced. And again, there's a lot that we don't know. Not that we have to, just sharing thoughts on what was displayed on their very public reality TV show. All right, y'all, I'm signing off. That's all I got. Ain't got no more. I want you to drop down in the comments and share your thoughts, okay? I want to thank you for watching. I will talk to you later.